Hi. So, I honestly don't wasn't even sure what I'm going to say in this video. I think it gets harder as you do, as I've been doing videos. It's like I have this sense of expectation for myself that um, I have to say something profound. And so far, I haven't planned to say anything, right? So I just kind of like I had epiphanies, so I figured I share them. But when you do something, then you all of a sudden have this expectation for yourself. And so, what I've been working on is trying to let go of that expectation and not think about, oh, I'm going to talk in my video and just write. Um, but I did want to do a video because this past few days I've had a hard time being um, in the state that I have been these past weeks. And I was just, you have those days where you are just kind of bitter and you almost don't even want to come out of it. You just want to kind of be in your misery and just um, for no reason. I mean, there was absolutely no reason for it. That's why I couldn't even really figure it out. So that's kind of how I felt. And I have been doing my writing though, and doing everything that kind of keeps me in tune with my inner peace. And but it wasn't give. I mean, it was keeping me probably a little bit more sane than if I hadn't. But it wasn't kind of giving me the same um, centered and calm feeling that I'd normally get writing. Um, but it made me think of something that I had read before. And some of you might be familiar with Eckhart Tolle. He wrote the book A New Earth and The Power of Now. This is like his name, and these are some like inspirational sections from his book. Um, Before reading The Artist's Way and Anthony Robbins, really it was The New Earth that really gave me that sense of um, being present to my real self, to who I really am. And anyway, but so I really recommend A New Earth if you haven't read it. It's a great book. Um, but he mentioned something in the book that I was thinking of as I was going through all this kind of feeling miserable. Um, and he mentioned something, it's going to sound weird, okay, because you haven't read the book. So if you haven't read the book, it's called Painbody. Okay, and basically, I don't remember his exact words that the way he describes Painbody, but it's basically a part of humanity as a whole that um, seeks pain, literally. I mean, that's how it exists. This is like a being that is just made from pain. Okay, and it feeds off of our pain. Okay, I know it sounds like kind of like sci-fi. Okay, but if you imagine it for a second, that there is an energy that just feeds from pain, then this energy wants to create pain because that's how it survives. This entity only survives from pain. And it's the you'll feel the presence of pain body when you just lose it. I don't know if you've had that moment where you just lose it, but if you do, that is the pain body. Or if you are fully soaked in your depression and you just don't want to do anything, that is the pain body acting. Um, I know it's a very abstract concept, but it just reminded me of it, and I thought I'd mention it because the reason that makes me feel better is because it creates a duality. Uh, it's like I'm separating myself from the person who is fully miserable. It's like I am creating a separation in my mind. Um, like, this is me looking at Yasi being miserable, and this Yasi being miserable is being operated by painbody. So it just creates a separation. It gives me a space to look at myself because normally you're so um, caught up in it and you so identify with it that there's no space for you to look at yourself. Um, it's kind of like when you look at somebody else and you look at their miseries, it's all you kind of have a solution for it, or you have a clear vision sometimes of why they're so miserable. But when it happens to yourself, you don't see it because you're so attached to it. Well, this idea of pain body gives you that space, whereas if that person that's being miserable and being mad or being crazy or whatever is not you, you're just watching them, and that little space will give you the ability to not be that anymore. So, um, as I was writing and I was being miserable, I just realized how I just want to be miserable. It's like part of me just wants to do that. And if you allow yourself to fall into your misery and your detachedness from mm, anything, and you just, I don't know, those moments where you just like are bitter and you don't want to do anything and you don't want to hear anybody say, oh, look at the bright side of life. You don't want to see any of that. Um, if you just let yourself fall into that, then it's just so hard to pull yourself out of it afterwards. But if you create that space and you see yourself, it kind of leaves you a lifeline. You can pull yourself out of it a lot more easily than if you just let yourself get soaked into that misery. Um, I understand this video might be super abstract if you haven't read A New Earth and you don't know what pain body is, and I might have not done a great job at explaining it. But that is what kind of helped me is basically um, being able to create a space between yourself and your thoughts, or that moment when you're being super upset at someone, something, a situation. It's like watching yourself, stepping back and watching yourself act. Doesn't necessarily mean that you stop acting that particular way, but you create a sense of awareness. And that awareness will lead you to your truth. Just being able to create that space and watch yourself will make you realize that there is another you that's watching that monster of you acting miserable and sad and whatever. Not monster, but um, so that's all I wanted to share for now. Let me know what you think.